Hi, welcome to What's the Word? I'm your host, Jaime McFaden, and I'm so excited to have you here. This podcast is about all things wellness. Each week, we will focus on a word of the day, and I interview some of the most inspirational people I know and share that inspiration with you. Join me, let's learn together on What's the Word.
This is the place where I belong.
Hi, and welcome to What's the Word? I'm your host, Jaime McFaden, and this podcast is about all things wellness. Each week, I interview the most inspirational people I know and share that inspiration with you. Today is a day that I have been long awaiting. I am interviewing none other than the most badass female entrepreneur who has literally changed the game of the fitness industry and paved the way for the entire digital wellness space. She also happens to be one of my personal mentors and friends, and I love her dearly. Let me just say, none other than Jillian Mother effing Michaels is here with us today. The owner of Empowered Media, best-selling author of multiple books, the host of Keeping It Real, an amazing podcast you have to check out, has the hit fitness app, The Fitness App, which I'm also on, a serial entrepreneur who literally, I could just go on and on for this 30-minute segment, but I'm not going to do that because I want to get into the juice with her here. So, hi, Jill. Thank you so much for being here. And you chose the word reframe today, which by definition means framing or expressing things differently. So can you I'm just gonna, that's it. Let's take it away.
Do you have a word that you think would sum up what's going on? I was like, I mean, I've always sort of been a naysayer on things like positive thinking. To me, it's not realistic, right? But you also need to be really careful about negative thinking. It's really dangerous. And it quite honestly carves these grooves in your brain, these thought patterns that you can't get out of. And you get to a place where everything just looks bad. You start to lose perspective. You don't see everything that's going right, all the people that are good in the world. So when a lot goes on, I personally am working on reframing it. And we've talked about this. I've talked about this notion that we bring a meaning to these setbacks. Everything happens for a reason. Find the reason. You have to find the reason, or you have to create the reason and reframe it. So it's like, okay, this super shitty thing happened, but I'm going to use it to learn a lesson or help someone else learn a lesson or improve my communication skills. So I'm trying to reframe the variety of lessons that life has brought me in the past, I don't know, decade. I want a refund on the decade. This decade is just kicking my ass. I'm like, oh, what happened to like a good year, a bad year, like this whole decade? And I'm not alone, which is even crazier. So
No,
I'm reframing it. I've loved this decade. I've learned so much. I've matured.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And talk about kicking ass. I mean, you are the epitome of the world known ass kicker of all time. And you've kicked my ass multiple times. So diving into a little bit deeper and farther back in the realm of things, can you just give a little bit of backstory of, how did you genuinely get to where you are today? I know that's a loaded question, but what kind of reframing also maybe went into play there?
Yeah, I mean, that was so easy for me in that it was very straightforward.
Okay.
It was like, know your shit, work hard, make a sexy promise, deliver on that promise, do it over time consistently, and the result materializes. It really does. Like, we often think people are these overnight successes, but then you hear the stories about 10,000 hours of practice and, the author who submitted the book a million times, got rejected from everywhere, self-published, and is now Stephen King. Or, Harrison Ford went on 10,000 auditions before he got one job. Like you hear these kinds of stories and they're true. So for me, it was very much about passion, authenticity, consistency, and hard work. Um, there were reframes in failures and setbacks.
Mm.
So, uh, but they were often 2020, like hindsight, right? Is
Right.
2020.
Right.
Um, so I lost a job. I don't know if I ever told you this, Jay. I opened up a sports medicine facility and I ended up going out for a job on VH1 way before Biggest Loser, and it was called Flab to Fab. And I liked the name of it. It was a really cute little show. It had a positive vibe, and you were same kind of concept as Biggest Loser, right? You're helping
Right.
mommies for the most part get back in shape. And I thought for sure I had the job. Like they did all the taping for the pilot at my gym. They had me like interview all the different hosts. I did as one of the trainers on the show,
Wow.
interviewed the hosts. So I was like, oh, I have this job. All my clients, I had like my celebrity clients putting in good word for me, the whole thing. And to make a long story short, I did not get the job. And I was so embarrassed and so humiliated because everyone knew, like every trainer at the gym, all my
Right.
peers, all my clients, and it felt like it had all been for nothing. Um, and I ended up like, after I picked myself up off the floor and, brushed off my bruised ego, called a producer and I was like, thanks so much for the opportunity. Can you just tell me, because I admit to being completely confused, like what happened? And they were like, look, we really like you. We think you're great. But at the end of the day, we need somebody a bit more approachable, and like the celebrity trainer thing. We need somebody who like works with soccer moms. And I did work with soccer moms, but of course
Right.
I was like, this is this celebrity. And because that was the vibe. Like the celebrity trainers were training celebrities and you read about them in the weekly magazines. So I want to say maybe 8 months later, the opportunity to do Biggest Loser came up. And I, of course, like hated the name of the show, never got along with the producers, wasn't that gung ho about it, which is hilarious because it was on NBC. I end up getting the job and I got convinced to take the job. It was like, just take the job, just see, it's a great opportunity. Took the job. As you know, Biggest Loser was on for over a decade. It was the number one show on NBC. It gave me an international platform. Flab to Fab was on one season, canceled. And had I been on Flab to Fab, I would have been under contract and couldn't have done the Biggest Loser. So you kind of got to give a little bit of it up to fate. It's like, all right. Oh, and I forgot the most important part. When I went in for Biggest Loser, I had like, this is my 70-year-old with spinal stenosis that we got, standing up again and dancing with his wife. Like, this is my soccer mom who lost 40 pounds after her second child. And that is what I think made all the difference why I ended up getting the Biggest Loser. So I learned the lesson, and it was just preparing me for the right opportunity that was around the corner in life, waiting for me to be ready for it. So I think in large part, it's like, what can I take away? Where can I improve? And then having some perspective and some faith, allowing things to play out the way they're meant to.
I love that so very much. Wow. And so true. I mean, I've worked with you many years now, and you are hands down by far the hardest working woman I've ever known. And you are just so inspiring in every which way, not just in that area, but also motherhood, the way you are with G, and just everything that you do and everything that you touch. It's like, I think about it sometimes because I wonder, you are probably the busiest human being I know. And yet you still manage to take care of yourself. So I have to ask you now, how do you fit that in?
Remember that,
as
you
Miss
make
Self-Care.
it seem so perfect. And it's like, I am, you know me, I'm deeply flawed like everyone else. And I screw up like everyone else. So it's like, I have the balls in the air, but they're not exactly looking perfect while they're up there. But they're up there, and that's part of it, right? It's like, it's good enough. So anyway, you were talking about like taking care, like how do you make the time?
Yeah, like how do you, because like that's the thing, I constantly get asked by clients, all the time. And as you know, I created the self-care walking program on your app and other apps.
God.
And
it's like invaluable. People love it.
It's as you and I can probably attest to, the easiest thing that we can do a lot of the times is forget about ourselves, put everyone else first, and then be a total, mess and disheveled. But at the end of the day, if we don't put our oxygen mask on first, who the heck can we serve? So for you and I and people that are serving, a lot of others and wanting to do the best, it's imperative that we do that. So I'm just curious, truly, between you and I, like, how the heck do you make time? And like, what do you have any like self-care secrets?
You just
it's so funny. My friend is in town staying with me, and he, he doesn't care for a kid full time. And he's like, how is it possible that you haven't gone to the gym in 4 days? And I was like, honey, Lou's starting school. Phoenix is here. He's not in school yet because he's in school in LA. So he's going back and forth. Like, I'm working like all day. Like I have not been, and I will not be able to go until tomorrow. So it will probably be a good 5 days since I've actually been able to work out. But one of the things I do when I'm not able to train is I watch what I'm eating. I do, 10 minutes of meditation at night to try to calm down and focus myself. I wake up in the morning. I have a really good breakfast. I have my little ritual with my kids. Like, I develop rituals for sanity, whether it's stealing moments of meditation, making sure the food is clean, having people around me that can support me and help me with whatever I'm trying to accomplish. So, there are times where you're not going to get there. There are times you're not going to make it. There are times it's not going to work out. It's not going to be perfect. But if you can kind of rob Peter to pay Paul, right? The days I don't get to the gym, I can control what I eat. The days that I don't get an hour to talk to my therapist, once a week, can I find sanity in moments of meditation? Or can you do things with your kids that are I'm really lucky. My kids are 11 and 9 now. So they're just a really good time. They're all that the hard work, like they wipe their own butt. They know how to cereal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's very easy. Like, I can relax with them. We go out on jet skis and we go on adventures, so I can decompress with the kids. So sure, there's always going to be one thing that suffers, but I think there's a way of living a lifestyle that is conducive to being happy, to blending both worlds, to making sure that even though you didn't get to the gym in 5 days, you can offset it with other healthy habits, and giving up this notion that there's such a thing as perfection, because it's just, you can pre-kids. Oh my God. I was amazing. Pre-kids, I was my best self. But then, and I remember saying like, oh, you got to put yourself first, moms, you got to put yourself first. And you can't. With kids, you cannot put yourself first. It's ridiculous. But what you can do is include yourself in the dynamic.
Yes.
Because they can't put themselves first. They can't drive themselves to school. They can't get themselves into class. They don't know how to, they can't make money to go grocery shopping. Like, they can't make their doctor's appointments and they can't get there. Like, you have to put them first, but it doesn't mean it's 100 to nothing, right? It's not black or white. There are times where you can be like, here's your iPad, shut up. I'm going to go in my room for 30 minutes and work out. Like, that's okay too.
I love that. Yeah. Because I think really what you just tapped into is so key, is really just making it work for however we can, and giving ourselves kind of that grace and self-compassion that, like, yeah, maybe it'd be great to go to the gym today, but I know I'm not going to go. So I'll just skip on like the crappy whatever and eat really clean and drink extra water and have fun.
And make the best of it. Yeah.
Turn the TV off. Don't watch that, third hour of Perfect Strangers on Hulu. Go to bed, get my sleep. You kind of gotta, you balance it, or you do the 20-minute walk around the neighborhood with the dogs and the kids because you didn't make it to the 90-minute yoga class. Like, it's grabbing these moments of happiness and peace and quiet and tranquility and joy wherever they present themselves.
I love it. Okay, so let me ask you this then. You just brought up joy, which is something we're all striving for consistently to be reminded of. And yet, if I look at my daughter, Sophia, she's just consistently radiating joy at 4 years old. Like everything is joyful. It takes her 25 minutes to walk down the street because she's like a bug, a leaf, and then like so present, right? Where I'm like, hurry up, kid, we're late, you know?
Right?
But what
Get it together.
you, right? Yeah. But
You're going to see a pill bug a million times. Let's go. Yeah,
Yes.
I get it.
But if only sometimes I look at that and then I have to remind myself, she is radiating joy every day. So for you, what are the things that are bringing you the most joy right now?
I mean, look, again, it's so cliche, but kids are hard. There is no joke. And for me, I found when they were younger, it was really hard for me. But now as it's gotten easier, they are really kind of the fun in my day. I find them to just be so entertaining and so hilarious. And they do different shit that you just literally are like, where did that come from? Like, who are you? I find, like, I went to dinner with my friend was in town, and I went to dinner with him and another friend of my girlfriend the other night. And my son was super pissed because I never leave him with a babysitter. My daughter couldn't care less. She was like on her iPad talking to her friend. But so all night he's messaging me from his iPad as I'm at dinner. And I was like, all right, fuck it. And so the foot massage place down the street, I'm so sorry, the dog is open.
Oh no, I love it.
So like I literally picked them up at 9:45 at night and took everybody to get foot massages. And it's like, it's just fun. To me, it's like, I want to be, when I die, I want them to be like, remember when mom would pick us up in the middle of the night and take us for foot massages?
Wait, I love that. I want to join.
Like,
that sounds
fun.
amazing.
It's like,
yeah,
so ridiculous. Like I think to myself often, when I die, what will they say and how will they remember me?
Wow.
So like, I find them to be, okay, I can't. Memphis, stop it.
Or just bring Memphis in.
Oh my
I almost
God.
brought mine
Memphis
in.
is my girlfriend's dog. 7 is perfect. My little angel. 7. She used to go to 7.
Yes.
Memphis,
yes.
come here. Don't start. He's coming. He's coming.
Okay.
I think we'll regret that, actually, just so you know.
I don't think so.
And like I was gonna say kids and animals, but this one just puts me through the ringer. Are you done? Can you please be quiet?
Memphis,
Right,
do you want to join the interview? Yeah.
He's gonna go chill in the corner, God willing.
I love it.
Well, speaking of joy and the fact that Memphis decided to join us, I actually think that's a great thing, because I think a lot of, you just brought up kind of present time activities, right? So like when things are hitting the fan or it's not going the way that we expect, make the best of it, like make magic out of the mundane or shift the energy, all those kind of things. Because otherwise so many times we get wrapped in our head. So I love that you said, well, you know what? Okay, everyone, we're going to get foot massages at, 9:45 at night. That's beautiful. Because
I think you don't have a choice, you know, Jamie. It's like there are days, there's something going on in my life right now that's just making me extremely unhappy. And it happens. It's totally out of my control. There's nothing I can do about it. And I mean, I'm doing everything I can do about it. There's nothing more I can be doing about it.
Right.
And some of my friends are like, you just have to accept it. You just got to get to this place where you accept it. And I can't, I still haven't wrapped my head around how, because some of it seems so unthinkable to me. But with that said, I find that I'm learning to not allow it to ruin my life. I'm like, okay, we're going to go to dinner and we're going to have fun today. And we're going to do this activity and we're going to do that activity. Cause maybe at an earlier time in my life, it would have been like, no, I'm depressed or I'm upset and the day's ruined and I'm going to go get in bed and like binge watch Netflix, which you can't do with kids. Anyway, they force you to evolve. But, I think it's, you start to learn that it's like, you cannot allow, even when something's bad, even when something's out of your control, even when it's deeply upsetting, you have no choice but to kind of either find the joy in it throughout the day or create it wherever you can.
Well, you just right now, it's like everything that you just said was all encompassing for your word of the day, which is reframing again. Yeah. So it's like, there's so much noise and there's so many things and so much out of our control.
But at the end of the day, the one consistent choice that it seems like we do have is the choice of reframing, where we put our energy and our focus, right? So if we're sitting stressing over the thing that's driving us nuts or stressing us out, okay, no, like look at the state of the world in so many ways right now. Like there's so much going on that it's
Yeah.
I know.
And
yeah.
so
with that though, what would you say in terms of, you know, the health and wellness industry and fitness and everything that you've seen throughout the years, all the stuff you and I have, I mean, I remember doing DVDs with you, and now no one even has a DVD player.
They find a way, Jamie. They find a way. I cannot tell you how many DMs I get of like photos of the DVDs. And I like, and it, you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, but I want to be like, oh my God, get the app. Like, why?
I know.
They're all in the app. Where? And I did muster up the courage to ask one of them because I didn't want to seem like a bitch. But I was like, how are you playing them?
Yeah.
My son's Xbox.
Oh yeah. Okay. So they can totally do that. So what would you say right now in terms of all the stuff going on in America and the world, and specifically related to health and wellness? Because at the end of the day, truly, if we don't have our health, what the heck do we have? And that's you and I feel like we strive really hard every day to do what we can to be healthy, but also to spread that health. So, you know, do you have any tips or advice for anyone that's listening or watching on
I mean,
that?
look, I'll frame it. I'll frame it in the way that both of us have discussed, in that it's like, we're going to meet you where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
We get when you're down and out. We get when you feel like you could, like, just getting out of bed is an accomplishment, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know people that have been through hell and they're like, just getting out of bed. You know what I mean? It was like, was as hard as maybe you and I running a marathon right now for them in that moment.
Right.
So like, I'm fine to meet you where you're at. But there is self-agency here. And if that step for you is getting out of bed, I expect it.
Mm-hmm.
If that step for you is doing 10 minutes, I expect it. If it's cutting out the sodas, because you should do that anyway, but you didn't get to the gym that day, like, I expect that.
Right.
And I've never been one to play the, oh, you poor thing,
Mm-hmm.
you could do the bare minimum. Like, I'm not asking you for the bare minimum. I'm asking you for the thing that is like, feels just right in that learning zone. Like, it's a stretch, like, woo, God. And I just don't, this is going to sound, you know what? We're so upset about the fact that so many people are dying from COVID. I think it's 6 million, right? I think maybe more. And we can acknowledge that's upsetting, right? But what I don't understand is that we are also losing millions of people to cancer, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and 70 plus medical conditions that are related to, and it isn't even obesity. It's just not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
There are thin people that get cancer and die of heart attacks. Heart disease is the number one killer of women. Like, why are we not fucking pissed about this? Why are we not banning poison in our food? We're so outraged about COVID, but like, there are things in our foods that are killing more people over time. Like, don't get me wrong, COVID is deeply upsetting, but I feel like we need to take some self-agency. If it's unacceptable here and you're wearing your mask and you're wearing your gloves, and I get it, I'm not going to get into the vaccine thing. Some people feel that they're taking care of themselves by not getting it. Some people take whatever. That's not my business.
Right.
With that said, your decision on the vaccine is something to do with you thinking you're doing what's right for you, right? So in your mind, you're like, I'm taking care of my health, whether you got it or whether you didn't. You wear your mask, you wear your gloves. Get the fuck out of bed, move your body, and stop eating shit. Like, stop it. You at some point, we've got to take some self-agency. So like I said, if that's you just getting out of bed that day because you've been to hell and back, I will take it. If it's doing one of your like self-care routines, Jamie, I will take it. Right? But get up and get get it together. Like at some point, what is the alternative? Curling up
I
into a
know.
ball and wasting away? Like, no, unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Okay, I have to just tap into that for a moment, because this is something that continuously gets brought up, that with everything going on, especially here with COVID, with, you know, now almost 2 years of us being in this, you know, situation, and yet things like getting a free donut for getting the vaccine, or still having poison in our food, or yeah, you didn't hear it. Krispy Kreme was offering free donuts. And I will tell you right now, I had a few people that had said, "Oh, isn't that so cool? That's so nice. We get a free donut." So how can we reframe somehow, some way, to encourage those around us to take some responsibility to reframe this?
I just honestly feel like at this point,
Yeah.
you don't want to do it. That's on you. Like I'm not going to care more than you care.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
I'm going to care about the people that are in my life that I love, and I love what I do. So I'm going to put information in the world. And if you pick up what I'm laying down, like, awesome. I'm
Right.
honored to be a part of your journey. And I love making a living doing what I love. But if you don't give a shit, and if you don't care enough about yourself to at least, again, no one's asking for perfection.
Right.
No one needs you to be perfect. I don't need the 90-minute yoga class. I haven't gone to the gym in 5 days. But I also didn't go to McDonald's yesterday. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to make effort. And like I said, I get it. There are days where horrible things happen and you're not getting out of bed, but then you don't get to order 2 large pizzas. You can control that. You can. You can. And then there are days where we do it, but then wake up the next day and make a different decision. Because I don't understand what the alternative is.
Right.
Because to me, I look at it and I'm like, if you're giving up on your health, you're literally just, I'm done. I'm not motivated. What are you actually saying?
I know.
You're saying you give up.
Yeah.
This is your one body. You're supposed to spend your whole life in it, unless I miss something. Maybe reincarnation is a thing. I don't know. But from what I can tell, we get one shell,
Yeah.
through the whole thing. And I mean, if you don't take care of it, life is ending early, way earlier than it should. And the quality of your life is compromised. The number one cause of bankruptcy in this country is a health-related condition. Chemotherapy, you know, like these things, they're devastating. They devastate your family. They devastate you financially. They devastate the quality of your life. Like, is that not enough? Do you want to go through it? Like, or do you want to meet your great grandchildren? Or do you want to like feel more confident in the bedroom? Or do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle? Or do you want to look amazing as you walk down the aisle? Like, or feel amazing. I don't care. Insert whatever politically correct verb you need here. I don't give a shit. The bottom line is, you know, when you are feeling good.
Yeah.
And do you not want to feel good in all these different ways over the course of your life? There are days where you'll feel bad, but you can have days where you also feel good. When you throw in the towel, like, what are you really saying? You just gonna give up? Like, that's it? So I'm done playing this game with people, man. It's like you sit there and you worry about getting COVID, but you just drank like a big gulp and went to a drive-through. So like, what am I going to give you? 10 years? You know, you're already mid 40s. Where do you think you're going to get? 60?
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's take some of that fear that you have, and because fear can be a great source of motivation, and some of that desire to live.
Yeah.
And start placing it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like eating better, moving more, living a more active lifestyle. Like, I don't care how politically correct it is or it isn't. As somebody who watches so many people die of things that are avoidable, I don't understand how we can be so upset about something that is avoidable and not worry about other things that are avoidable. Like, ideally you could avoid COVID if you maybe not perfectly, but we
Yeah,
can be
but
super, super careful. We can be responsible.
yeah, we could be responsible, but same goes for our own health and wellness and well-being. And
That's what I mean.
yeah, exactly.
Like, you
So
put on the mask every day, you put on the gloves.
yeah,
Yeah, you're being mindful, you're keeping your distance, you're doing all the things.
hmm
Like, come on.
I know. I'm Jill.
Come
My
on.
dad at 55 years old dropped dead from a stroke because of unhealthy lifestyle. That's why I got into this industry, because he was my favorite human. And it's like,
Right.
that's the kind of stuff where unfortunately, a lot of the times it takes a huge catalyst for someone to go, oh my God, I got to change my life. Right.
Yes.
And so anyways,
That's
you and I can,
reframing though.
yeah, it's reframing.
Like my
right. Because
grandmother
I could
died
sit
of lung
and go,
cancer when I was
right.
66.
I could go, oh,
never
poor
touched
me.
cigarettes.
Right.
Yep.
And like, exactly. It's like, oh, poor me. This, that's like, no, I'm going to figure out how the heck not to do that. That's the best way to learn from someone else's example.
55.
Yeah.
Jamie, that means
Yeah.
in 7 years I'll be dead. And I
Yeah.
will orphan my 2 kids. No.
Heck no.
Absolutely. Now you better take me out with a bus. Like literally a fleet of buses. Because there's no way that I wouldn't do everything I could to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that if I could go back and say to your dad, like, I get it, because a lot of those kinds of people are like, and they tend to give like everybody everything but themselves. I don't know your dad, but I see it a lot, right? And it's like, but okay, you're going to devastate your daughter. How about now?
Yeah.
Not just you.
Right.
How about now?
Right.
I know. But with that being said, I mean, this is all real stuff, real shit that we're all faced with. It's a reality. And I think reframing couldn't have been a better word today. And I want to be cognizant of your time right now. I know you have to go. I have one last question for you, and then a super quick speed round, if that's okay.
Please.
And this just kind of segues into it. So, obviously we're both moms. We love our kids to the moon and back. And so many of my audience, my people, they're parents and busy parents that feel like they don't really have time to take care of themselves, but they're working on it, this, that, the other. So I just want to know from you, like, what's the legacy that you want to leave your kids? Or like, what do you want them to learn most from you?
I mean, I think it's so cliche, but I want them to do 2 things. Out in the world, as a global citizen, don't be an asshole. Like don't do it. Don't be the mean kid in school. Like, don't be the person that like scams another person for money. Like, don't be the dick that cuts people off in traffic. Like, don't do it. I do the traffic thing sometimes, but I really try. I try not to. Like, don't do that. Right? Be a good global citizen. Because literally you want people to, right? Be the change you want to see in the world, treat people the way you want to be treated. And then for themselves, I would say, like, always prioritize your joy. Happiness is tough, right? We're not always going to be happy, but you can find joy and moments of joy like we talked about. And your whole day can go sideways, but maybe there's something. Maybe there's like a really cool lizard on the sidewalk. I don't know. Maybe there's a manatee in the canal outside. Maybe there's just a moment of magic in your day. Like, I don't know. Most people don't have manatees outside their door, but find something. Like, it makes me super happy when I see like a little creature outside. I love nature. I love animals. I mean, find something, create something, take an art class, read a book. I don't care what it is that you love, but do it, engage in it, and don't get to the end of your life and ask, what if? Like, if I could give them that, like, you'll make mistakes, you'll have a broken heart, you'll break someone's heart, you'll have losses, you'll get fired, you'll screw up, you'll fail. Don't intentionally be a dick, and don't look back and say, what if? Make the mistake and then reframe it. But regrets, like, you can never be without fear, but you can be without regrets. Be without regrets.
And this is why Jillian Michaels is my hero.
Oh,
you are. I love you, and thank you. And we're going to do a quick speed round. So totally first thing that comes to mind, tacos or pizza?
Oh, tacos.
Least favorite exercise?
Running.
Go-to healthy snack.
Peanut butter. Is that healthy?
Yeah, great. There we go. Jam that gets you going right now.
Oh no!
What's on your playlist?
I do like EDM if I'm working.
You and me
I'm
both,
like super
girl.
cheesy that way, but
Who are you digging right now? Anybody specific?
I mean, honestly, I feel so cheesy. Like I haven't heard any amazing summer bangers.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's got me like super stoked on tunes this summer. I don't know if it's because a lot of artists aren't putting out new albums because they're
Right.
touring. I don't know.
Right.
Nothing I've been obsessed with. I hate to tell you.
That's all good.
I know nothing has really.
All
I've dug
right.
into some old stuff like Eric Prydz.
Yeah.
Old Afrojack.
Yeah.
You know, I do love David Guetta. Like, there's
I
a
do
reason he's
too.
David Guetta. He's commercial, but it's like, yeah, because he's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like Jay-Z is Jay-Z for a reason.
Jillian Michaels is Jillian Michaels for a reason.
At the end of the day, like you can talk about hip hop, but it's like he's one of the greatest rappers of all time. Eminem was one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like, it's cool to know the niche person that everybody knows about, but there's a reason Kanye's Kanye, because he's brilliant. So
I love it.
I don't know. I do love that. I go back to that old school, like
I love it too. It's so good.
Like
so good.
Ibiza
And such good
DJs.
energy. Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I love those guys.
Okay. Who is inspiring you the most right now in your life?
I would say my 11-year-old. I know that sounds ridiculous, but she's the kid has just, she's been through a lot in her life. And she really just every day gets up, takes it on the chin, if it's there to take, and then fixes whatever she can fix and moves forward. Doesn't sulk about it, doesn't pout about it, is like, yeah, I fucked up. Or yeah, this one didn't work for me. Or yeah, I like that's an issue of mine that isn't my fault. Like a learning disability, right? And it's like, but I'm going to learn to deal with it. I'm going to learn to work with it. You know, I'm going to do whatever I can to turn it into a skill set. Like she's a little gangster. She doesn't complain. She gets moody because I think she's hormonal. She can be moody, a little bitchy sometimes. She looks like she's 15, even though she's 11. But like, she's a tough cookie, that kid.
She's
with
amazing.
A heart of gold. So
she's amazing. I mean, it's been what, 3 or 4 years since I've seen you guys, and
I know she loves you.
Oh, she's incredible, and I love her too. And last but not least, superpower. What would be your superpower if you could have one?
I mean, I would love to fly because that just seems neat. But I mean, you can kind of make up for it with devices and things. So I think being invisible. Because when I was younger and totally amoral, I might have robbed banks and things. I think is the money invisible if you touch it? Like, you know, now that would be so wrong. But oh
my gosh.
Where does she get her money from? I don't know.
So Jillian Michaels robbing banks as the invisible superhero.
Yeah, rob some banks.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh no. Maybe time travel. Time travel.
Where'd you go?
Travel. Yeah. Everywhere.
I love it. Okay, that's great.
Everywhere, because I can manipulate time. So
there we go.
All the time in the world.
Is there anywhere that you would travel to right this very minute? Like literally, if you could travel?
I mean, I am fascinated. I love history. So, I mean, I would love to see dinosaurs in person, or like a megalodon shark from above.
Yeah.
Like, I think that'd be amazing. I would love to go to like the Renaissance period, or, you know, the ancient Greeks. I'd love to see how the pyramids were made. Like, I think that would be awesome. I'll give up the bank robbing thing.
Okay. So
she's flying. That's
she's giving up being invisible and
want
flying.
to time travel. Yeah. That's
time travel. I love this. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe with some technology coming out, we're going to be able to get there somehow, some way. I mean, there's so much undiscovered that we're now discovering, like different senses, right? So we don't ever know, but I want to go there with you. And Jillian Michaels, Jill, I cannot thank you enough for all that you do, for all that you give, for the light that you shine, for allowing people like myself who have always looked up to you to shine in your light. You are a gift to this world, and your strength, and your courage is something that I honor every day of my life. And I'm so thankful for you.
Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. Well, it's absolutely mutual, as you know, and I'm grateful to have been on and had this time to spend with you. And the next time you're in Miami,
Oh, I'm coming for you.
yeah, come visit.
I
I'm trying
am.
to get you to move.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. I need the beach.
I'm
Okay.
like,
Well,
come
okay. Well, we'll be talking soon to make that happen.
But I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. And to everyone that's watching and listening, thank you so much for joining us on What's the Word as we talk with Jillian Michaels about reframing. So many gems today. You are sensational. Okay, I love you. Thank you for joining me here at What's the Word. Follow us on social media with the links on the screen, and don't forget to like and share with your friend. Your support helps us grow and continue to make inspirational content. See you next time on What's the Word.